you're going to want to come back at 3 o'clock. All right. Welcome to the Distance Learning Certification Level 1 launch, Panama. So glad you guys are here. You can access this presentation using that link that you see on the screen. We'll also be pasting it in the chat. And if you have your mic unmuted, if you wouldn't mind muting yourself, that way it doesn't distract our participants from hearing and viewing. And so yeah, welcome. So you can find this website, this slideshow at bit.ly/pbv capital U dash capital D capital L lowercase info. And we're so glad you guys are here today. And I would like to introduce you to the Distance Learning Certification team. It's led by Jason Hodgson and also myself, Hans Tolman. And Troy, if you want to unmute and say hi.
Hi, everybody. This is Troy Witham.
And then also our leader, Shelly Tiffin, is also part of the team.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming today.
So by the end of this session, you guys are going to be able to understand the distance learning pillars. You're going to know how to access the Distance Learning Certification website, and there's the link to that website. We'll be going over it today. You're also going to understand how you can obtain the Distance Learning Certification. You're going to understand the basic structure of the Level 1 course and know what to expect during boost and showcase sessions. And I'm going to pass it over to Shelly.
Okay, and I'm working from 2 computers, so if you see me look at you and then look at the other computer, that's why. Just wanted to let you guys know that. But Hans, if you wouldn't mind clicking on the Q&A doc, that would be awesome. So we've created this Q&A doc, which has actually been a very useful resource throughout these courses, as a place to add questions, and it tracks the questions throughout the course. And so what we've done is we've actually added in the dates say June, because this is our 3rd session of Level 1, and there are actually 120 participants signed up to take this course. But it allows one spot for you all to see the questions that you are having, and most likely some of your peers and other participants are having as well. And maybe someone's already asked the question and it's been answered. So this is the place where we would like you, even today, to begin asking your questions. So if you'll scroll down there just a little bit more. And then, so for example, today, if you had a question, here's a question for you. You are going to have 3 facilitators, and that means there will be 3 options for office hours. So maybe my question is, I see 3 different office hours available to attend. Do I have to attend all 3? And so you can write the question in the box. This is doing such a great job. And then if you already know who your facilitator is, you would type their name here, and Hans is going to model what it looks like to assign it to your facilitator. You see, as he highlights it, the little comment button, the plus, shows up over there. And as he does that, then he adds my name, a plus with my name. What that does is everyone's allowed to see the question. It sends me an email notifying me that there's a question here that I need to look at. And then I can come back into the answer document, or into the document, and I can place it. So maybe my answer comes back in the form of so I could do that. and type the answer. Just so you all know, you don't have to attend the office hours. They're actually there for just for you if you need them. And you could attend. And if you have 3 available to you and if you think it would be beneficial, then you could attend all 3. But the office hours are not required. So the whole point in all of that is just to show you how this Q&A document works. And to let you know, again, it's going to run through the entirety of the course. So every time you have a question, please come here, see if it's already been answered. And if you have a question that has not been answered and someone has already asked it. So I asked this question, but maybe Con also has the same question under pbvU plus team where it says participant name. He could type his name. And that lets me know how many people have the same question. So this is just a nice tool and place for all of us to come and answer questions. Same spot. So as we go throughout our time today, please feel free to jump on this document and begin adding your questions, and we will stop and address them as we come to them. And I don't know if Jason's on the call. Jason, are you here?
I don't believe he is, no.
I don't believe
He's able to make it in.
Okay. I'll go ahead and just pass on.
All right. So before we really kind of go in depth with the course itself, we just wanted to briefly introduce you to the distance learning pillars. These are the backbone of the course, basically. So pillar 1 is communication and connection. Pillar 2, distance learning management, and pillar 3, facilitate student engagement. You'll see these 3 pillars reflected within the 3 modules of the level 1 course. Each module is named after one of these pillars. So that's just how the level 1 course is set up to kind of flow. So you'll hit each of these big 3 elements as you go through your learning. And kind of, as I've already talked about, that basic course structure is built on those 3 pillars. So you'll see here, this is a snapshot from the distance learning website. It just gives you a very quick rundown of what level 1 distance learning course is, what it kind of looks like. And then right here, you see we have that module 1.1, communication and connection, module 1.2, which is the distance learning management, and then module 1.3, which is facilitate student engagement. So that's the basic course structure. That is how everything fits together as you proceed through distance learning level 1. And then, of course, if you have any questions specifically about the 3 pillars or about that basic structure of the level 1 course, you can feel free to add those to the Q&A document.
All right, so now we're going to take a quick tour through the distance learning certification website, and you can find that at bit.ly/pbv capital U dash capital D capital L lowercase cert for certification. So if I click on this link, this is the website, and up at the top you will see the different pages that you can go to, and there's an introduction in the home page. Troy talked about those 3 pillars, and then at the bottom also links to where you need to go, and also a button to before you start. So if you mouse over before you start, or if you click on before you start, these are the 2 things that we recommend that everyone look through before they start the course. Look at the prerequisite skills and the pbvU certification. And then below this is where we will be posting our level 1 launches, so, and also level 2. So this is where you would go to, if you have a colleague who wasn't able to attend today, they could watch this launch at their own convenience. So that is there. And then if you mouse over the top, go to prerequisite skills, it shows you a list of apps and skills that you would need to have to be successful in this course. And all of these have links to a resource that will give you more information and support on those tools. And then if you go before you start, pbvU plus certification, this is going to talk about the pbvU plus distance learning goals, the distance learning structure, the criteria, and this is something that Jason typically goes over. And if you click on course navigation, here you'll be able to read the participant expectations. You'll also be able to access the syllabi for the syllabus for each of these courses. Level 1 is on the left, level 2 is on the right. And below this is a list of steps that you would have to complete to pass a level 1 course and or a level 2 course. And there's a total of 13 steps. And below this, under course navigation, is a possible timeline of what this might look like. So you see what would the time frame of a week 1 look like. And Shelley, I believe we are starting this next week on Monday. Is that correct?
Yes, the official start date is, I believe, I'm looking, hold on. I believe it's the 27th. Yes, we are ahead on launch.
Awesome. And then if you go under course navigation, go to distance learning fundamentals. This will give you kind of an overview about what is distance learning, the difference between synchronous and asynchronous instruction, scheduling remote learning, and other content that you guys can check out. And if you are ready to get started with the course, you can go to level 1 course. And on the home page, you'll see a registration button. So if you haven't registered for this course, you would go here, and you'll also see a summary of level 1 course. And then these are buttons to go to the different modules. You can also mouse over the level 1 course and go to the modules that way. So, for example, this is module 1.1, communication and connection. There will be an introduction on what this module is all about and introduce some of the tools that you'll be using. This is going to talk about the objectives for this module, what you will learn. And you'll also see what tools will be covered. In this case, module 1 is Google Meet. And then before you begin, there's a module 1.1 frequently asked questions document. This will show you the expectations of the course, something to consider as you're going through this. And also frequently asked questions that a lot of teachers before you have asked that have been helpful. And then also a certification evidence exemplar that will show you an example of what a video might look like. So you can click on that and view that exemplar. And if you go below that, getting started with Google Meet, here you will see the slide presentation, and this will have all of your content. So this is getting started with Google Meet, and this is going to just go through all of the content that you would need to know whatever skills that you need to know for the tasks below. And these are the tasks that you need to complete. You don't have to go in order, but some of them will require you to go in order. And at the bottom, at the end of each module, we constantly improve our distance learning course based on your feedback. So if you could give us some feedback about the module you just finished, that's going to help us improve it in the future. And there's a button to continue on to 1.2, or you can always go up to level 1 course 1.2, and I'll pass this over to Troy. Oh, Troy, unmute yourself.
Dang it, I did it again.
Nice.
Module 1.2, distance learning management. As Hans pointed out in 1.1, you'll start with a brief introduction. You'll continue, it'll give you again those objectives, the what will you learn piece for the end of the module. You'll see that for module 1.2, the digital tools that will be covered really revolve around Google Classroom for this module. We'll again see a module 1.2 FAQ document that will give you some expectations for this module, some frequently asked questions that your peers have asked before, as well as an exemplar of what that module evidence will look like for your presentation at the conclusion of the course. Then you'll see the presentation here that contains all of your content, all the learning for this module. And below it, you'll see your tasks. For this one, for instance, there are 13 learning tasks to complete. Once you have completed those, you might notice that, for instance, here, task 13, at the end of each module, the final learning task will always say, complete the module feedback form below, just because it is, as Hans said, so important for us to hear your feedback about each module as you complete them, so we can constantly make this course as relevant and useful as possible to you. And then you'll see the module feedback form, and then you can continue to module 1.3. And I'll hand that off to Shelley.
All right, and in module 1.3, you will really be combining your skills that you have learned in 1.1 and 1.2 to engage students. So it follows the exact same structure. You have an introduction, your course objectives, and while they may be few in number, they are larger chunks to bite off. So don't let that fool you. Go ahead and scroll on down. Again, this is a synthesis or a combination of skills that from the Google world and those that we've covered previously in level 1, and kind of putting things together and giving you tools and good pedagogy on how to connect and engage with your students. So you have the before you begin document, again, just like the other courses, roughly how much time is it going to take, and an exemplar for the evidence at the end. I do want to clarify that the videos and exemplar slides that we have placed in on the website currently are from the pilot. So your slide deck looks just a touch different, but this gives you a really good idea of the expectation. And we just had a cycle finish on the same slide deck that you're using. And so we'll begin replacing these out. But if it doesn't look exactly like your slide deck, that's why we, again, make continuous improvements to the course over time, but it gives you a place to start. Go ahead and scroll down. And then just like the others, especially here, all of the content is in the slide deck. So I would encourage you to go completely through the slide deck before you start the tasks, just to get a big picture overview. And then as you complete your tasks, go back to that portion in the slide deck. And when you're all finished, we love your feedback. And that's all I have.
Awesome. So as we're going through this, you guys may be having some questions popping up in your brain, whether you're here or after our launch during the week. You can always jump in on this document. Feel free. I think you can add it to your drive, or maybe even add a shortcut so you can refer to it later. But let's jump in and see if we have any questions today. No, not yet. No questions yet. So what I'll do is I'm just going to drop this in the chat for you guys. Oh, Shelley already did it. So if you guys have any questions, take some time to write those down so that we can get back to you. So now I want to talk to you guys about the Google Classroom layout. And the class code is BTGEEOO, lowercase o's. So whenever you guys are ready to join that course, you can do that. And I think we can paste this code in the chat if possible. And I don't know if, let me see if I'm in that Google Classroom. I may not, oh, yep, here we go. So I'm gonna just take you through the Google Classroom just so you guys are aware of what it's all about. So on the stream, you're going to see announcements from your facilitators, additional information that maybe, or a question that they have for you. So make sure that you're checking out the stream, looking at your Gmail for notifications. And then under classwork, this is where you're going to find all of your course material, your syllabus, the certification website, the Q&A doc, and the 7th column example. And then you'll see that the topics are organized by week 1, and this will start on Monday. That's the beginning of week 1. So and they'll be numbered so you can go in order from one assignment to the next. And if you click on one of these, like this says attend or watch the launch, well, there's the launch slides there. There will also be the launch video that we will replace with this. So all of the materials that you need will be attached to these assignments. So like assignment 2, read before you start. So you can go through these step by step, and going through these and completing these assignments, you can just mark them. Most of them are class materials, so there's no turn in. Week 2, get ready for a boost, attend a boost. Here you may have some, we'll have the facilitators update the boost information. Let me put that where it belongs. And then week 3, collect evidence, complete all tasks. And then week 4, it's showtime. And that's where you guys are going to showcase the evidence for the tasks that you've completed. And notice how the only assignment in this under classwork is assignment 11, and it says complete the showcase. So this is where you would be going to add all of your evidence and what you will be showcasing to your peers during week 4. And then there's also a place for you to submit a feedback form. Shelley and Troy, is there anything that I'm missing about Google Classroom?
Nothing that was left out. I would just, I'll let all of you know that before the end of the week, those will no longer say draft. But we wanted to let you see it. We wanted to go ahead and get in there. The best place if you want to go ahead and get started working before Monday is just go straight to the website and begin taking in the information and digesting some of those tasks. And then by Friday, this should be up and running, and you should know who your facilitators are and all of those details.
All right. So I'm going to jump back into our presentation. And again, the class code is BTGEEOO. And I'm going to pass this over to Shelley.
Perfect. And I'm hearing some mics in the background, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit mute all really fast. Okay. Just wanted to warn you before I did it. As we go through the course, you'll notice that the Google Classroom and the website are an on your own, or what we would call an asynchronous component. So that entire piece is designed for you to tackle as you are ready to tackle it in your own time. What we've built as well is a synchronous component where you will come together with your other participants and your facilitator and have a live together event. And we have 2 of those. The first one is called the Boost. And this is a general overview of the Boost. During your 2-hour Boost event, your facilitator will go over the agenda and the protocols, give you some general information about the course, a little more specific information about them and their contacts and when things are due and that kind of information. You'll have an opportunity to get to know each other. And again, we're going to ask and continually ask that you place your questions as they come into your mind on that Q&A document, because your facilitator will be looking there for questions that they should address even in the Boost. But we want you to come prepared with these questions, having an answer to these questions, like what questions do you still have from the learning that you've done? And then Hans, if you'll go to the next slide. And then in your small groups, because we're going to break you out into small groups, what challenges did you encounter during those first 2 weeks? What are you excited about trying and why? And have you made contact with your support team? And what are your next steps? I'm going to stop here on that support team. What we mean by a support team is right now, students may be unavailable. So we're asking that you find a group of colleagues, 2, maybe 3, from Panama Buena Vista, maybe from your team at your site, that are willing to support you through this process. So if a task asks you for students, you're going to ask your colleagues to step in and be those students, if at all possible. If you don't have teammates at your site or grade level department teams that you can do that with, then reach out to your facilitator, because I'm sure there are others possibly in the course who may have the same issue, and you guys can work together to be each other's support team. But we want you to be able to name 2 or 3 people that you are able to reach out to if you need a student or you have a question as you work through this course. So by the time you get to Boost, you should be able to name those people and know what your next steps are.
And also, since you guys will be joining the Boost, you're going to be in a group of colleagues that are in the same course that you are. So that's actually a great time to team up. In fact, the facilitators will probably group you by grade level. So if you don't feel like you can get a team together from your site, then you can just get the contact information from your small group breakout right then and there.
Yes, perfect, thanks. And then we'll have an opportunity to share out large group. And then during your Boost, your facilitator will go over the components of the showcase and just some of the fine tuning of what that's going to look like and answering the questions that you have to prepare you for the showcase. And then the next event would be the showcase. So the showcase is really just an opportunity for you to share your learning and the wins that you've had during the course, the challenges that you've had, how you've overcome, and how you're going to apply this moving forward. So during that showcase, really that's the bulk of the time. You'll have about 20 minutes to share your slides and your videos and receive feedback from your peers all at the same time. And it's really run through that showcase slide deck. So just make sure that everything is there and that you're prepared and ready to go. If Zoom is not one of your strengths at the moment, one of the basic things that will alleviate some frustration during the showcase is just knowing how to share your screen in Zoom and knowing how to share your video with the audio so that everyone else can hear it. So I just thought I'd throw that out there, and we are here to support you in that process if that is a question that you have or you need support with that. And then it's just, again, just a time to share large group and small group about all of the learning. It's one of my favorite things, being able to jump in and just hear you guys dream big and hear your successes during the course. And these are just, it's just a review of what you saw on the website. You're here at the launch. If you're here and haven't registered for the course, don't think there's anyone in that boat, but if that's the case and you would like a unit for this course, please make sure you've registered. And then that is the link to the website where you can go ahead and begin getting started in the process. And again, just a overview of the weeks and what they could look like as you kind of break out the chunks to complete the coursework. I think that's it.
All right, so let's jump over to the Q&A document and see if anyone has any questions so far. I believe we've dropped the slide deck and the Q&A document into the chat. So we have a question from Melanie. For the performance tasks on 1.2, can I take screenshots of specific tasks, or do you want me to make a video through Google Meet? Troy, would you mind answering that one? Oh, you may be muted. Maybe.
You are muted.
Oh, sorry, my audio cut out for a second there. I didn't know what was going on. So for the performance tasks within level 1, and you're talking specifically here, Melanie, about 1.2, the evidence required in the showcase presentation does require the video being created. So you'll create that, and then that will get pasted in to your showcase presentation.
And Troy, I forget if it's 1.2, but are there some slides that require screenshots of evidence?
I believe that's actually
I may be
level
thinking of
2.
level. Got it.
Yes.
Cool.
Thank you.
No problem. And I'll go ahead and put that in the Q&A document right here. Oh, thanks, Hans.
Any other questions? Feel free to add them.
I was just going to add to that, each slide is very specific about what type of recording it needs to be. So for example, the 1.1 recording, it says on the slide that it must be a Google Meet recording. And if it's not a Google Meet recording, you will be asked to redo it, because what the skill that you are learning in 1.1 is how to use Google Meet. So just make sure you really look at those slides before you begin kind of filming your evidence, because they're very specific about which tools you can use to do them.
All right. I'm not seeing any questions right now. I'm going to come back to Jolene's in a little bit. So that's the end of our launch. We just wanted to kind of give you guys a heads up on what to expect starting next week on Monday. The Google Classroom is open. The assignments will be posted later this week. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. But let's go ahead and stop recording, and I'm going to just play you guys out and hope you have a